The federal government should establish an educational policy to significantly increase academic achievement in secondary schools in the United States is a debate that has risen throughout the country. Many ways to improve academic success in students attending secondary schools can be made. Of an estimated $1.15 trillion being spent nationwide on education at all levels for school year of 2012 through 2013, a substantial majority will come from the state, local, and private sources. This is especially true at the elementary and secondary level, where about 92% of the funds will come from non-federal sources. That means that the federal contribution to elementary and secondary education is about 8%. This includes funds from not only the Department of Education, but also from federal agencies such as the Department of Health and Human Services Head Start program and the Department of Agriculture's School Lunch program. Students attending secondary schools in the U.S. don't have access to many things such as higher classes such as AP, college courses, etc., healthy food choices, or even close school locations. For example, many schools take in those from other districts, but they cannot give an education to all school of choice kids because they have to take in those from their own districts. The National Governors Association states that governors strongly affirm that states, not the federal government, should assume the responsibility for creating an educational system that enables all students and adults to achieve high standards. Each state has a constitutional responsibility to determine its own educational system. Diane Pratt-Hefner from the School Nutrition Association states that unfortunately the meal application form only takes into account income and not expenses. She said, "So there are lots of families out there who do not qualify for meal benefits but are struggling to feed their families anyways." One way to remove the barriers to education is by building schools in every neighborhood or district. This would ensure that children do not have to travel long distances to get to school and instead focus on their studies. It will also help reduce the cost of transportation for families. To build schools in every neighborhood, the government could work with local communities to identify where the schools are needed most. While governments have the funds, they might not necessarily be aware of the problems that the students in every neighborhood face. Working with local communities can bridge the gaps so that governments can do their best to ensure equal access education. The federal government can provide funding and other resources to help build and maintain the school in each state. This will help ensure that all children have access to an education regardless of their socioeconomic status or location. Inclusive education starts with making sure that all children have access to school. This includes children with disabilities or those who come from marginalized communities. The government can provide transportation and resources so that these children can go to school using the funds received by the federal government. Additionally, the federal government can also provide support to families to afford to send their children to school. By providing students with free lunches, students and their families won't have to worry about the financial burden to feed their student, as the school is already taking care of that. The free reduced lunch program, in addition to providing nutritional benefits, can also improve students' academics and discipline. Even during the pandemic crisis, when students were not receiving in-person instruction, schools would offer lunches to their students. School-wide free meals programs help students and has been shown in schools as student engagement in classes spikes after lunch. When the students are re-energized and fueled, they engage more in class and tend to have better grades in classes taken after lunch. Higher level classes such as CTE programs, vocational education courses, college courses, and AP courses have shown to accelerate the rate that students are learning at. Additionally, providing these courses has shown less dropouts in secondary schools as more students are provided an education fit for what they want to do and not what they're forced to. Taking AP classes while in high school saves the student time and money in college. Depending on the course and college that they choose to attend, if a student receives a 4 or a 5 on their test, it can count towards college credits. That means the student would be able to get ahead on first-year requirements and potentially graduate early. These courses also show to raise students' GPA and receive merit-based financial aid and scholarships. Being allowed and offered these types of classes allows students to go through college without the worry of debt, or lots of it. Offering vocational education classes in high school allows those not interested in college to find a career that speaks to them. Oftentimes, vocational education classes allow a student to walk out of the class upon completion with a certificate or a diploma, in which they'll be able to take to college or be able to work straight out of the class. Locally, Watervliet High School offers Van Buren Tech classes, in which students go and take classes based on what they want to do. For example, they offer classes for welding, animal science, healthcare, EMT, firefighting, and more. Each of these programs allows students to walk out of the class upon completion with a certification for the completed class. CTE, also known as Career and Technical Education classes, provides students experience of what career they are interested in and allow them to come out of the class with a better understanding. CTE classes that are offered to students in Berrien County, Michigan come from all different backgrounds, including arts and communication, business management, marketing and technology, engineering, manufacturing and industrial technology, health science, human services, and agri-science and natural resources. In most of these programs, students will come out of the class with lots of experience and even a certificate.